G'day guys, welcome back to In My Shed. I'm BC. Bit of a stinking hot day out there and I pushed the mower for an hour and that's enough. Wringing wet. A couple of things. Mail call first up. I finally got some inserts for my CNMG tool holder. We'll give them a try in a few minutes. All the way from Mr. China at an affordable price. Freight included, I think it was about $45 for 10, so I'm quite happy with that. I had one comment last week, a fellow showing his WMG insert 5mm in depth of cut and really roaring into it. That wasn't what I was trying to demonstrate. I was just showing from a hobby point of view, if you've got a low horsepower machine, how the different inserts perform, the push out force and the horsepower required. It'll be interesting to see how these cut, so after this intro we'll have a bit of a look there. Quite good service. It was about a week and a half to get here. One thing that does concern me is the postage is included, and the next one will be exciting. This big box was used to transport a packet that size, and I think the postage was $4.98 from China. And I bought it from China because I think including postage it was about $43, and in Australia it was $148 to buy the same thing. And I don't mind the guy having a margin, but you know, that's a bit much. By the way, a push type oil gun of any quality now retails for about $180, and I don't have enough use for that. The reason I'm getting this is the Haro grinder and the Johnson Shipman cylinder grinder are both fitted with oiling type nipples, and someone's taken the opportunity to grease both machines, and that's got the ways operating quite sticky. With the cylindrical grinder, you stop grinding the item back off to the run out section, and it then feeds about 4 thou over the next 30 seconds. So when I finish grinding, I want to wind it out. And I think personally it's just you push the machine up against all the grease and the tracks or the slides, and then it gradually relaxes after you finish grinding and there's no push out force. And that's not really what we want. So back to lubricating machines. I've got a American Eagle 66 oil can, pistol type, which has a very fine spout on the end, and I can get some oil into some of these lubricators just pushing the ball off the seat, but the point is not fine enough to get the little ones off the seat. So I have been trying my own. I got this in a while ago and did a video on it. It's a good little oiler, but it's got the wrong sort of nozzle on the front. It's got another pointed nozzle on. That's not fine enough. So this is what I got yesterday, Mr. Lube Max. Quite a nice little item, see-through body. I don't know how that makes it perform any better. But big difference with this, it does have a lock-up cap that you can use as a ball displacer, but it's way too coarse again. But it's got a inverted cone end on it with a rubber seal inside, and it's perfect for putting over the oiling fittings and give it a squirt. Now, it does work really well. I could feel the oil going in there. It retains the pressure, so as you back off, it squirts the rest of the oil out. So you have to take Mr. Rag Spanner with you to keep the place clean. But I gave both machines a bit of a tickle up with it, and look, I'm satisfied. I'm probably going to use it another 3 or 4 times as long as I live, because the machines just don't do many hours. But yeah, it is actually quite a good little item. There's a better one in America that looks very, very similar, but I don't think it's this particular item. But as I said, it's about $180, and I just couldn't go that far. Okay, after a little bit of turning, we'll go over to the Clarkson tool and cutter grinder. I've finally figured out what's been going wrong with it, and it's been me all along, expecting that I was improving the machine, knowing more than the factory, and just proved how bloody silly I am. I changed an item with a factory workhead that would swing 2 inches either side to one that swings 6 inches either side. And with a 6-inch table travel, you just run out of room. So I've had to make extension tables, etc. So now we go back to the way Mr. Clarkson intended it. Okay, I'll bring you up and I'm turning something on the lathe. Well, we're doing a recording a second time. The audio only works when you turn it on. Too many contraptions. Okay, I had really bad vibration with this, really bad chatter. So I pulled the tailstock up a little closer, and I'm thinking I didn't have any trouble with this last week. So I can't imagine what the hell is different, but let's see what it's like this time. Well, it's a little bit better this run. Diameter's a little bit smaller, the chips are still coming off coloured. Well, it's as if the issue is speed related. The finish is just as bad as the other places. God, that's horrible material. Okay, I'll leave this at that and move over to the Clarkson for some more grinding. Well, back again, fellas, here at the Clarkson tool and cutter grinder, and taking me a lot of head scratching, wondering why the hell I wasn't getting the success I wanted. I could always grind the ends of the end mills and slot drills okay, but when it came to gulleting or some other operations, I just could not get around the envelope of this grinder. The envelope is around this table. It's supposed to be a 6x12 envelope, which you can extend a bit by swinging the whole table subframe around 90 degrees. Worse luck, that doesn't have a 90 and 0 degree dowel pin. Would have been a good idea to get you exactly where you want it to go. The Clarkson manual, in inverted commas, is about as useful as a hip pocket in a singlet. You've got to really dissect the words and see what they say. A short video would have been worth 1,000 words, or a picture worth 1,000 words. I've been using a very good ER32 collar chuck with a 4-slot index on the back with moderate success. It's given me reasonable repeatability. It's only about 0.2 of a thou out on the outer body, and the collar face is about the same, and for a cheap chuck, that's quite acceptable. So what have I been doing wrong? Well, simply I created my own dilemma. Clarkson started off with this tiny little workhead, and believe it or not, it does the job, even though I didn't think it would. You extend the length by 63 millimeters, and that means instead of swinging a 75 mil tool around, you're swinging 130 mil. That means 260 end to end, and you've just created the dilemma. You've soaked up all of the space you've got on the table before even using a cutting tool. So you've put the tool outside the limits of the machine. Now, Clarkson use a dead easy system. It's just a bush with a hole through it. There's a grub screw here. You put the bush down through, do up the grub screw, and there's the tool pulled up with only the extension of the flutes sticking out of the workhead. And that's why their system just works so good. You can lock the workhead up with the bolt on top, or you can index off the flute using what they call a swan neck indexing tool holder. It's just a piece of slotted plate, offset about 1/2 inch at the end, with a grub screw to hold your indexing finger. So it's fairly simple. Okay, this is the slot drill that I ground over at the Haro grinder, and the operation I came over here to do is the back relief. It's always been a bit of a pain for me to do. You can see I gave it just about 3 degrees of positive rake there, and on both cutting edges I've just nicked the point trying to get the item set up properly. One problem you have with the Clarkson, and the problem just won't go away, is there's no table stops. No stops for the longitudinal movement. You can't set up a stop for the cross movement. You're forced to repeat the numbers on the dial, which always is easy until you've got the table over the dial and you can't see it. It is not an easy system. It's something that you've just got to get used to. This particular system, if I can find the right body. Also has these sleeves sliding into this holder with a very small grub screw, so you can lock it up. Then this will slide in the workhead, and you can use that for doing the flutes on cutters. And if it doesn't slide in this one, I've got another workhead that it does. I know I've tried them before. No, not that one. Oh, that fits, but I don't want to jam it in there. Yes. One of those bushes, and that retaining ring goes on the back end, gets locked up with another grub screw. It's a fairly, I don't know, not hit and miss. It's a bit unusual to have things lock up with grub screws, etc. But it must have been extremely successful because Clarkson made millions and millions of bloody cutters. But anyway, I set that up on this grinder to grind that third angle. You've got your primary clearance, the secondary clearance, and this is just like a body clearance. On a 4-flute end mill, you call it a gash. On this end mill, the gash is merely a cut-off wheel put through between the two cutting edges, just slightly offset from centre, so that one edge is longer than the other. Okay, so I've locked the tool to the bush. Now I'll bring you in a bit closer in a sec. That's the cutting edge. You bring the cutting edge up to vertical and then unwind it about 3 degrees. That way you can grind right across this body clearance up to the centre of the tool without interfering with the main cutting edge. That's fairly critical. Then you lock it up. And in this case, I've had to go to a 3-inch wheel. A 4-inch wheel is just too big. And just at the maximum height of the unit, I can pass under this wheel and grind that relief. And that took about 4 hours to figure out. Another thing that I read in this manual, in inverted commas, is that to gash the tool, which is virtually what I'm doing at the moment, you take the workhead off the workhead bracket, and the workhead has its own elbow on it, and you bolt that directly to the table. So that takes all the height difference out of it. It brings the wheel down to the same height as the as the tool that you're grinding, and allows you to use a cup wheel to grind the gash in it. That's something I've got to practice a bit. Okay, I'll swing the camera down and show you some of the gear that I've accumulated over the years, and you'll see how the Clarkson system is just fairly simple once you know how to use it. But boy, are they good at it. All these sleeves are cylindrical ground, and they're all within 1/10 of a thou of size. They slide, you can't feel any clearance. You hold a shaft in your hand for a minute, you can't put the bush on. It is just dead accurate, and I've got about a dozen pieces like that, and they're all ground to the same tolerance. So whoever did the work is a bloody good operator. Anyway, swing you down onto the table. If I can get in behind the lights, and try not to break anything. There we are. Bring the light over. Put a bit more light on the subject. Okay, there's a selection of shafts. I've got a set of these bushes in metric, 6, 8, 12 and 20, I think, or 16 and 20, and then 1/4, 3, 8, 1/2 inch and 5, 8. No, there's nothing on 3/4, I don't think. They're the bodies that are board and ground, and the bushes to go in the body. There's a 25mm shaft and a 32 inch and 1/4 shaft, I think. And also that fits into the 25mm body. And the body is fairly unusual in that it's 1 inch at one end and 25mm at the other. So it's a dual purpose body as well. Now in the years of collection, I've come up with quite a few little dish wheels, a little purple Kinnick wheel, that's usually a high stock removal for hard tools. Whatever you do with these wheels, if anything looks dodgy, don't listen to the other silly bastards that say, oh, just dress it out and use it. I personally will not take the risk. Now, I've tried a ceramic bronze matrix cut-off wheel, and it cut the cutter, that cutter there, cut it down until it got to the base of the flutes and then just wouldn't go any further. It's not, the tool isn't abrasive and it's not cutting out the bronze matrix of the cut-off wheel, so no, that wasn't successful. We've used those little cut-off wheels quite a bit. One product that we'll be trying in the future is rest cut wheels out of America. They've always been very good on difficult steels like stainless steel or hard facing. Digging through all of my diamond wheels, I don't know what the fellow was using the Brearley drill grinder for before I got it, but there's all these diamond plated cut-off wheels, and I don't know if they'll work on this sort of carbide cutter, but I'll try it. I have a lot of plain diamond wheels as well, but I came across a prized possession. I thought that was just a cheap and nasty Chinese diamond grinding wheel. And when I have a look at it, it's made by Norton Abrasives, and of all things, this cubic boron nitride, which is perfect for high-speed steel tooling, and that sort of grinding wheel is going to last me to the end of days. Quite good. Okay, well, it wouldn't be fair not to show you that grinder running, so I'll set it up and bring you back then. Now I'll head myself back over to the grinder. Do I have a pointer? This will do. Okay, you'll see that that's the cutting edge of the tool sitting just off vertical. That's the area to be ground there. And I'm grinding that at 35 degrees to the axis of the tool. It should be 45 degrees, but until I learnt that that gets bolted via this directly to the table, I wasn't able to get that done. As I said earlier, it's not an indexing item as per the normal work. If you're using that as the stop to stop the whole lot rotating, you then can't use the indexer in the flute bolted into the same hole. So I'll try and get that operation sorted out. Come down another thou. Load it up a little more. Now it's only on cutters where this area that you're relieving is wider than the wheel that you have to step sideways. And then all of this is index it around and do the other side. And this is one operation where you don't have to worry about equal tooth heights because it's only a relieving operation over the back, as long as you don't chop off the end of the cutter like I did. But now that I'm understanding a little bit more about it and reading the little comic book for the third or fourth time, it's starting to come together. Well, guys, mysteries of cutter grinding explained. Well, not quite. I'm learning and I'm trying to teach you, so we're both learning at approximately the same speed, just one video editing length away. You see, I've collected an enormous amount of material over the years, and it has been a real search mission to try and get this all together. And now I'm learning a little bit more about the Clarkson. What I will finish up using most probably is a 100mm by 13 38A, but I've only got these here in 100 grit at the moment, but I've got a couple of 60s on order. And you don't want to go too fine. as you go finer in grit, we all want a better finish. That's hardly controlled by the grit number. The finer grit number is used for holding form so that you can dress it better. But as you get into the finer grit, you get a lot higher number of points in contact with the job at the same time. So you're creating, go from 46 to 60 grit, you're putting about 40% more heat into the work. So you're trying not to keep to the grits finer than 60 if you can, maybe 80 if you're saw gulleting or something and you want it to hold the form. Okay, when I learn a little bit more on how to use this monster, I'll get back to you, or I might have some more videos and other machining operations. Please like and subscribe. Bye for now. Any comments about the chatter on the lathe, please give me some messages.